Alright YouTube, what is going on? It's ConflctNerd Callum here today, bringing you another episode of my Transport Fever and Let's Play Let's Connect Up the Grand Canyon. And today we're starting off episode number 16 and we have issues. That's the bottom line. It's been 30 episodes now since we looked at Boulder, and 30 episodes without looking at Boulder, it causes problems. That's the bottom line, and there's too much pressure being put on Boulder. Boulder has grown so much with Jackson, of course, because Jackson is joined on, and also Jackson's grown out along this road as well, which that's not causing too much problems all in all, but there's just a lot more building happening, to be honest. As we can see here, there's just so much more people waiting around, there's a lot of traffic, and I'm trying to go ahead and try and do the best I can, but at times it's just not the best. So we're going to focus a lot on Boulder this episode and just try and do some improvements. And I'm going to start by upgrading a lot of roads, because a lot of roads outright really need it, to be honest. So I've already actually upgraded quite a few roads. If we go ahead and look at this whole avenue here, then you can see that I recently upgraded it because all the buildings have disappeared. This was just really required, to be honest. And I'm going to go ahead and do the same along this road here, just to go ahead, and my trams are getting stuck in traffic, which I feel just a bit unnecessary, to be honest. So that's what I want to go ahead and get rid of and just minimise that. Unfortunately, I can't really upgrade that stretch too well, but I think that will do for the time being. And I've just gone ahead and also upgraded a lot of roads around here, because we are having one or two issues. This station itself isn't actually that bad, but it's just got, I guess, a bit of a build up, to be honest, which I need to just try and go ahead and clear out. Now, the problems don't just stem in Boulder. The reason why the problems do stem in Boulder, though, is because, or a fair part of them stem in Boulder, is because there's too much pressure being put on Boulder, and I need to go ahead and resolve that issue today, which is what I'm going to do. So what I'm going to do right now is, because there's too many routes coming into here, that's the honest thing, there's too many routes coming into here, and what I feel anyway is that there should maybe be, instead of buses, maybe trams going up to Willow Creek, because these towns are eventually going to join on. Literally, they are going to join on. It might be 20 episodes in the future, to be honest. But I went ahead and I tried to go ahead and build a railway line in between the two and have some functioning stations, but it caused more traffic issues. So I'm not going to go ahead and put a railway in because I can't. People have been asking for that and I simply can't. Trams is possibly an option which I'm going to maybe consider, to be honest, because we're just not really getting much of a clearance at all. Both hold 48, but I feel trams would maybe work a little bit better, or we could have just a bus only road, because there's just way too much build up here. That is the real problem. So I'm going to go ahead and play around with a few different things and see if we can get a solution, because this tailback here is just way too large, and this is what's causing the build up at this end, which has a knock-on effect to the trams and then the whole city. That's the bottom line. Outside of that, this episode, and in the next episode as well, need to go ahead and nail the air routes which we put up at the end of the last episode. I realise I have just put them in, so I do need to go ahead and maybe tweak them a little bit and go ahead and see what I can do. It's also really good to see the train, the San Carlos de Lores line, that is into the profit. As I say that, it just dips out the profit, unfortunately, though, so I need to go ahead and address that issue. And if I come up here to Tejada, actually, Tejada isn't doing too well, along with a few other towns, so we need to go ahead and address some issues in quite a few places, amongst many other towns, which we'll maybe get round to this and in the next episodes. I do need to also go ahead and start to automatically upgrade buses, because they are getting to the stage where they are needing upgraded, that is for sure, and that's what I'm going to need to really do, to be honest, because I've not really had to deal with the issues of vehicles running out of their lifespan yet, to be honest, but it's time to just go ahead and start doing it, because, you know, some lines are just, they're just needing it. They are really just needing it. So I realised I had a lot of these on, to be honest. I'm going to go ahead and just very quickly speed this part up, because I'm literally going to put it on every line, because one thing I hate to see is messages coming up which are all about, oh, you need to go ahead and do this and that. I know I need to do this and that. I know I need to do so much, and that's the problem. I just hate getting the reminders of the mess that I am in sometimes. So with all this aside, I'm going to go ahead and start to get to work on Boulder a little bit. I need to go ahead and basically have more outputs. That's the bottom line. I really need to go ahead and have more outputs. I'm also, like, looking at the comments, everyone's loving the series, and again, thank you so much for everyone's support, because it has been amazing, but at the same time, I am worried about situations like this. If I can't resolve Boulder, then the series really can't continue too much, because at the end of the day, Boulder is the bread and butter of the series, and everyone's loving this series. I'm enjoying making it, so I want to really have it continue. However, I don't think it really could continue if Boulder doesn't function properly, so it sort of puts a lot of pressure onto me, to be honest, which I'm not the biggest fan of at all, but I really think we can go ahead, and with a lot of work, we can go ahead and solve all the issues we have. Again, there's some which are sort of out of our hands, to be honest, which again, I've explained why I don't like. However, I do feel that we can do definitely a better job in here, and this is what I'm going to get started with. So ladies and gentlemen, go ahead and ignore partially what I said because I've reverted it, but I've just gone ahead and seen what works for this city. So as we can see here, we're in general, I've let the game run a bit, so it's past its initial stage, if you will, and we are getting less problems here. There's a lot more easier throughput, and the reason is here is because I've created a ring road in a sense, so people that want to drive into the city, they now have to come up and around the station, which is good, and they've obviously got, when they get into the city, less priority because I do have all my bus lanes there, which is good, and as you can see, everything is just moving much better. Everything seems like in super slow-mo. That is not ×1 speed, is it? That's maybe a bit more normal, or maybe I've just been in ×3 speed a bit too much, but we can see here in general everything is moving much better along this bus only section of road. However, cars do use it, and I'm not really at all sure why that is. I believe the game's broke in that aspect, so that's kind of frustrating, I know. However, not a lot of cars use it, so it means that buses still pretty much get priority, to be honest, and everything is good. There's not a big like pile up of buses at this junction here. They seem to be just moving in and out freely, nice and easily, and this station is performing exceptionally well, which is really what I wanted to go ahead and see. I'm really happy with it. Aside from that, there's not really much I can do up here, to be honest. I mean, the bypass is getting quite a bit of use, which is good to see. I mean, that's the purpose of the bypass, it's to go ahead and divert traffic away. In general, this is performing great. We've got a lot of weight for every single line, but again, there's not too much weight of everything. If anything, buses are actually quite empty, to be honest. The Boulder Silvertons are, in general, emptier. The trams are, again, a wee bit of a mixture, to be honest, but nothing's really full, which I quite like, so it's something that is good to see. However, if we come away from that, which there was a bit of a performance issue there, we can see the Boulder general situation isn't as bad as it once was. Similar situation which I could go ahead and deploy over here. There's a lot of build up here, but the build up is actually more for the Boulder Bayside. I just don't think there's enough buses, but there's not much of a queuing issue, to be honest, so it's not that bad at the time being, but I am seeing a few buses and a few trams which we could go ahead and alter up at some point, because going forward, I can just imagine we're going to get more and more issues. We are having some real frame rate issues today. Really don't know why that is. I'm going to go back to the ×1 speed, I think, for the time being, but we're just about at 1 billion, which is really good to see. So I'm going to jump out of here. I want to jump up to Willow Creek because Willow Creek is our second biggest problem. There's nothing really too wrong with Willow Creek, to be honest. This stop here in particular has a lot of issues, but again, most of these issues can be resolved by just going ahead and upgrading the road, which is what I'm going to do. I want to go ahead and grab bus lanes though, because I think that will really help going forward. And this whole avenue I'm just going to go ahead and make larger just to help myself out, and then this tunnel's not going to have a lot of traffic, so we'll be fine. Some really hideous terraforming here, which I just need to sort out. Like, that's just so unrealistic. Come on. I need to just get rid of that. That is just literally pure shaving. That is when literally on a height map it would go from black to white and you just have a vertical cliff, which obviously in real life you do get vertical cliffs, but in a game to go ahead and texture cliffs, it's not as easy as just going ahead and creating something like this. It's not natural, it's very grainy and it looked very pixelated because basically the pixels were stretched there. That's what it was like. And again, we've got a similar situation here. The pixels are basically stretched, that's why it looks really bad, but we can just go ahead and use our softened terrain brush and that softens everything out, which is good. So hopefully that'll go ahead and free up some issues there. This station's actually flowing really well, so I'm really happy with it, and in general everything in the Boulder Valley, as we can see here, it's really not that bad actually. I was a bit concerned about it for a while, but I think we've overcome everything there today, which is good. I do have a lot more problems though, which we are going to go ahead and address. So if we jump up to Salt Creek has grown a lot, and we are getting waiting for specific routes, mainly to go to Greenlee actually, and as we did touch on in the last episode, Greenlee has grown quite a bit, and it obviously just needs more buses to go ahead and support it. So I remember creating the Greenlee lines, and I remember just like hardly any vehicles I assigned to them, and I definitely think they do need more. So that's what we're going to go ahead and do today. So we're going to start off with the Greenlee Salt Creek, which is in a, first of all, filter by passenger, intercity bus 2, and we're going to go for the, is it the darkest brown? I think it is. Yeah, I think that's right. So we'll go ahead and buy 1, 2, 3, 4 of you guys, and then we'll assign you on to the Greenlee Salt Creek line. So right now there's 2 buses operating, which as you can see, this is one here and it is full. No surprise because there's so many. You can just see the amount of people here waiting at the bus stop. Wowee, there is a lot. So yeah, it just basically needs a capacity upgrade all in all. There could also be people waiting to go down to the port though, so there's also people waiting to go on the BC Salt Creek as well, which I need to go ahead and do. Now somebody commented saying I missed a bus stop. I probably purposely missed out a bus stop, i.e. this bus stop here, because I rerouted it from a previous episode and I've just not been bothered to delete the bus stop, which is sometimes something that happens. I want to very quickly jump down into the BCs actually, and the BC Salt Creek doesn't have a lot of buses on it, and we need to go ahead and I would say put some more on. So we'll go ahead and jump into here. Now that is it's an interesting, like a low transparency orange I would say, to be honest. We're just going to buy 2 more 40-seater buses of the old classics, the old City Bus 1 which we used way back in episode 1, which if you haven't seen, that's really where this series came from, to be honest. I'd highly recommend just going ahead and checking it out because it will give you a background on how this map has grown. It has been a bit, I guess you could say, all over the place at times, but in general I think we've made a lot of progress, and slowly but surely in different areas of the map, and then it all came together, and I think overall in general we're doing quite well. I mean, it's a really difficult project, so it's really difficult to say, to be honest, if we are doing well or not, but I think in general, if someone else was to go ahead and pick up this map and you were to compare it to how I was doing it, I think I would be doing a relatively good job. A lot of people waiting here at the dock, which is interesting. So boats are full going that way, but I don't know if they're full coming back the way, which I'll need to go ahead and find out. So that's the Red Cliffs one, which is irrelevant. We've got the Boulder to Red Cliffs, another Red Cliffs one. Where is the other Salt Creek? You must be the other Salt Creek, and to be fair, you've got quite a lot of passengers on you as well, so I think I'm maybe going to add 1 or 2 more boats, because again, boats is something like planes we just sort of neglect, because this is mainly evolved around buses, not gonna lie, for the time being at least anyway. Over time we'll go ahead and do more upgrading, but for the time it's just evolving around boats. Anyway, I'm going to buy 1 more boat for the time being, just 1, because I don't think the route from Boulder to Salt Creek really needs that much of a larger capacity, but I think just adding in that extra boats, that extra 60 seats I believe they can hold, if I'm correct, yeah, then I think it'll just make life that little bit easier. If I'm right in saying you're about to go through that dock, which I don't like, I think you will clip it. And you maybe just clipped it, to be honest, but that's just the routing. It doesn't really consider other ports. I do want to run up to Redcliffe though and see what the heck is going on. So there's a lot of people waiting here. There's a lot of people actually wanting to go down to Boulder, which is fair enough. However, there's always capacity on boats, so I can't complain about that. But there's a lot wanting to go upriver, it looks like, and that's to go up to the port of Miller, which if we jump up here, this is all the way up here. So as we can see, we've got Miller Camp here, we've got the port, which is sort of in the middle of the 2 towns, and then if we come along here, we've also got ourselves Walnut Ranch, which is 2 of our latest connections, I believe they are, in our series. So something which I have let sort of build up over time, and it looks like we're starting to get an appearance here. I first of all want to know how many boats have we got on this line, and what is the profit margin of these boats. So this here is the boat, which is the red line, the Boat Red Miller line, and it is doing really well. It's got 3 boats and it's making 1.4 mil, which is really good to see. So do I need another boat? I don't really think I do, to be honest. I mean, right now these towns both have a population of 200 200 I think overall, so there's not really needs. I really don't think there is. I mean, there's a fair amount of people I think coming in here, 44 all in all, but I don't think there's that many people going to be departing. If we go ahead and click on here, then 25, and there's a few people still arriving, so say maybe 35 at most, but I don't think it's justified. It just really depends, I guess, when the buses turn up and pick people and drop people off. But for the time being, we'll leave this area. Yampa is busy, that's for sure, and its buses going to Redcliffs. The bottom line is it needs quite a few more buses to take itself to Redcliffs, so we'll go ahead and grab some intercity buses. Yampa to Redcliffs, and that is going to be a B for bus. This is the real problem I'm having. I need to go ahead and name stuff in alphabetical order because I don't know if I should look up Yampa or Redcliffs. Obviously it's not Y because I would see it there, so I need to go ahead and go into Redcliffs. And Redcliffs Yampa, I'm making an amazing amount of money, honestly. 2.7, 2.8 million there. However, it just needs a little bit more capacity, which I can easily enough go ahead and provide. So buy 1, 2, 3 more of these buses, and that brings the total up to, I believe, 9. So quite a bit, but Yampa's grown. Like, Yampa has done very, very well for itself, which I'm extremely happy to see. I remember it was just a very, very small town, and it's very much grown up the valley, as have a lot of towns in this map, but every single stop has a demand to go ahead and connect up to Redcliffs, as we can see here, just going through the main street. We've also got some demand up here at the top of the town, and that's to go to Greenley, which I can go ahead and we can just see in general Greenley is doing much better for itself now. I added in those extra buses coming from Salt Creek. As we can see, this one here, 31 of 48 passengers, so not full by any means, but it does have that extra little bit of capacity. And this here is the Greenley Yampa, which is full, so I'm going to go ahead and maybe put 2 more buses on the Greenley Yampa line because I think we can support it anyway. And at the end of the day, passengers that are just standing still, you know, it's just a bit of it's a waste of possible income at the bottom line, or end of the day bottom line. You know what I mean? I have always certain sayings which always sort of, to prove my point, I go back to, and I always say so and anyway, which I think so and anyway I'm starting to cut out a little bit more, I hope. Though now I've told you that, you're going to notice, oh, he says that all the time, I can't believe it, blah 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 blah. But it's something which I am trying to work on, and sometimes I always say the same references. I don't really know why, to be honest, but I just do. Anyway, plane here, 34 out of 38 people. That's going from Boulder to Arvada, which is really good to see. How are we doing on the air front, actually? I realised we are jumping all over the place. So the Boulder Arvada route is actually losing money. I just don't think the frequency is high enough, but then we did add in another plane before and that just didn't work out. The Tajana Richardson to Arvada is our most profitable at 4.6 million. And then the 2 planes which come out of Silverton are actually, or no, the Arvada Silverton's making us money. Boulder Arvada is a bit of a mix, to be honest. Silverton is our newest airport, and as we can see, it's doing not bad at all. However, I think it's just going to take a little bit more time. It maybe needs a little bit more support. What is the issue here? The issue is Boulder to Silverton, so I think I need more buses going down. I really do. I think if this bus fills up, then I basically need a few more green buses going down into Boulder. And again, we'll check our change that we made at the start of the episode. So yeah, that bus is full, so I definitely need to go ahead and make some changes because it's definitely people not wanting to go down to Castle Rock. Why are you purple? I think I do need to redo my colouring at some point, to be honest, and I also think I need to go ahead and upgrade this road because a little bit of traffic issues I'm starting to see here. So we'll go ahead and grab a large streets. We'll go ahead and this part of town is quite high rise now actually, so it's definitely something which I need to go ahead and consider, especially with any city, and this is really becoming a city, so hopefully that these bus lanes will go ahead and help make a little bit of a difference going forward. That has cleared out a lot of passengers, which is good actually, but I think in general we just need that little bit of extra support, and that should help this town out. This town does have a bus station or a bus depot, as we know, so we're going to go ahead and grab, and this is a really classic one actually, so we're looking for Boulder to Silverton, which is our very light green, going on lime sort of colour. I'm only going to buy 1, 2, 3, 4 buses because I don't want to cause too much build up of buses at either end of the route, but the route is just so busy that I think it does need that extra little bit of capacity. Anyway, coming back down here, We can see the bypass working really well, we can see the bus lane working really well, and in general we can see the station just working really well. I'm so happy about it. There is still sometimes a little bit of waiting here, but the issues with actually passengers crossing the roads, which to solve that I could move this station back maybe an extra few meters or so and go ahead and have a longer entrance road. But again, it's not really causing too much problems. Everything seems to be moving in and out of fine. The only issue I see sometimes is that when there is a yellow bus and a blue tram coming in here, there can be a bit of build up. Everything does randomly change though at times, so it doesn't actually cause too many issues. In the long term, I'm sure it'll go ahead and reassign itself a different platform or lane in this station. We are really all over the place this episode. There's actually really no consistency to this episode. This is sort of just a little bit of a maintenance episode, just running around and seeing what is needing done. Thompson definitely needs to go ahead and get some work, and again I'll classify now Thompson as a city because one, it has a population of 1,600, which is pretty high. There's also a lot of people waiting at multiple different stops, and as we can see the BC Silverton Thompson, which that needs renamed. That's the first thing that's happening, that needs renamed because it's just inaccurate. It's not a BC, it's just a B. So we'll go ahead and very quickly jump in there and rename that. Now, which direction are people wanting to go? Are they wanting to go into the city or are they wanting to go out? And it seems to be a mixture, and it seems to be the buses are full here, so we can go ahead and address that issue, no problem whatsoever. Again, just going ahead and giving a few extra buses for that little bit extra capacity. And if I'm right in saying that bus goes via the airport, so that could go ahead and definitely help air travel going forward as well. Anyway, jump in here, intercity. It is the lightish blue with maybe a little bit less transparency, or opacity should I say, so it's not like 100% solid, it's maybe only like 90 or 80%. 1, 2, 3, 4 of you guys will be bots, that's an extra near enough 200 seats all in all, and you're now the correct B Silverton Thompson, so you guys will roll out and hopefully start to clear out a little bit of that backlog, and that'll solve the issues in Thompson. A lot of people waiting at the station actually, so is this train full that's just left the station? Not quite, so it's obviously a train that wants to go the other way. We have a lot of trains in action on this line now, I mean a lot of trains on action. Let's go ahead and see. So overall, there's a train every 3 minutes on this line. It's making a profit of 22.6 million, and it has 6 trains all in all, but I think I'm going to go ahead and upgrade that because one, the line is doing so well, but there's a lot of stations with some passengers which could just move around a little bit more, to be honest. There really is. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do. As we can see, this train here has 58 passengers on it. Is there another train on the station? I don't think there is. So the trains are spread out anyway, but I mean there's what, 5 stops, and it is a long line. It goes from basically one side of the map to the other, so I definitely think this can go ahead and support 2 more trains. Now there's a bit of an issue in the comment section of episode number 14, I believe it was, and it was like, oh, you should be using this train, you should be using that train. I don't know what train I should use, and I'm just trying stuff out. Right now, for the time being, these trains are working out for me, so I'm going to go ahead and continue to deploy these because I like them. They seem to be giving me the best success, and for the time being, I really can't complain. I might go ahead and change them again when we get further on in this series and the demand is higher, but for the time being, they work, and I'm going to stick with it. Anyway, we're here in Tujada, again, pretty big place, 2,600 people. I say pretty big actually. I want to go ahead and just check some statistics first of all. So if we go ahead and I want to jump into towns actually, this is what I want. So we've not looked at this in a while. I want to look at population by town. So Eagle Creek and Glenwood, which are Crossville and Almosa, these are all the towns which are not connected, and funnily enough they've got the least population. Flipping it the other way though, we have Boulder, which is a population of 3,000. We have Tujada, which is our second biggest city. We then have Jackson, which Jackson Boulder is really one, so that's just a big valley of 5,544 people. Silverton, as we know, is big. Richardson is in between Boulder and Tujada, so again very big. Castle Rock, Ward's Ranch is maybe... To be fair, we worked on Ward's Ranch quite early actually. That was one of the earlier towns we moved up to in that end of the map. I am a bit surprised that Willow Creek hasn't grown as big as it could be. I think it's maybe the restrictions of the map, to be honest, just because of the way it's situated in the valley. It's not very practical for it to go ahead and do any more building. Outside of that Apache Ranch, that town has gone really well. Dolores as well, Arvada, Red Cliffs, and then we drop out of the thousands there. But in general, a lot of growth and a lot of people on this map. Anyway, I want to go ahead. There's lots of people waiting around town here. It's the Willow Creek Tejada there. It's also the BC Tejada, which for such a long time was making a loss. It was a mad loss how much it was making, but now it seems to be doing okay for itself. And also the Meadows Tejada, that looks like it needs more buses as well, so I can definitely go ahead and do that. I do want to very quickly run in and actually check the BC Tejada, because that was doing awful for such a long time, and now it's doing well, which I'm glad to see. I think probably we need to go ahead and the frequency or the capacity on this route, I'm not 100% sure. I'm trying to look for a bus, but I can't really see one right now on any of the roads, which is an issue. We've got one here, and you're 40 out of 40, so if anything, it's a capacity issue, which I can hopefully go ahead and deal with by upgrading the buses to the bendy buses, which is easy enough to do. So we'll go ahead and set vehicle correctly there to the bendy bus, and we'll select the yes option, so that'll work no problem. Outside of that, I think I just need to go ahead and buy some more buses for the Tejada to Meadows line, which goes through the tunnel which we recently built, which I'll show you in a second. What green is that though? That is a darker green, but not the darkest green, I believe. So if I very quickly just get my paint palette open, I would say it's that green. 1, 2, 3, 4. Simple as, and then this is going to go on to the B for Tejada to Meadows, or Meadows to Tejada. I'm going to actually sort this out. I'm going to sort this out very, very soon. So it's not under Tejada. Nothing's under Tejada, surprisingly, actually. So it must be under Meadows Tejada, and I'm pretty sure I did actually get that green wrong there. But I just want to see, like, as we can see, this tunnel here, it's doing extremely well. It's not got many cars on it, but as we can see, a full bus coming down through the tunnel, which I like to see. Getting it, Meadows has grown so much. I can remember when it's coming up for 1,000 people, and we've hardly really used this facility. A lot of people wanting to go to Tejada, as we can see. Some people want to go to Red Cliffs as well, which is good, and I'm liking. And there's also a lot of people just waiting around the town in general. But we've sort of dealt with this part of the map today. There's a lot of issues ongoing, which I'm just going to have to go ahead and solve. But I do want to, before we wrap this episode up, just jump up to the... I just solved Yampa. I just solved Greenlays. I solved half these issues. I want to go ahead and check on the railway line and see how that's doing anyway. So we've got a lot of people waiting at all the stations, and let's go ahead and check the train here. We've got 130 people on you, which is insane. Right now, all in all, we have... Okay, so the railway line is making 4.71 million, which is just insane, especially for this new railway. Costs a lot of money to build though, probably all in all about 100 million, so I do want that return eventually. But if we jump in here, as we can see, we need to go ahead and I think just add more trains in, because you're going to be full anyway. You're going to refill up in a second here. There's a lot of people waiting here. It's because we removed the bus route from Arvada to Dolores, as we can see a lot of people, and I mean a lot of people waiting here. There's also a lot of people waiting on the bus which goes into Milton Caves, which again, that bus is full. That train is now 144 out of 44, so I'm going to go ahead and have to make a few changes. If we jump all the way up to Fort Morgan though, how is the train station doing up here? Because this place isn't as well supported, but still got 33 people waiting, which isn't bad. And then San Carlos, which is a bit out in the middle of nowhere, to be honest. It's really not that bad. And I think it's maybe time to maybe actually have a bus which comes from Greenlay up to here. I think that would be a nice additional touch as well, because it's actually a really short distance and we can create an easy enough tunnel going forward. But San Carlos right now as a station isn't getting used too much, but again, there's room for expansion, which I think is what we're going to work on in the next episodes. Before I wrap this episode up though, I want to go ahead and I want to basically just go ahead and apply the changes that I said I was going to apply there. So first of all, we're going to add 2 new trains of again the same train, this train here, onto the line. So we'll buy 1, 2 of you guys, and then we'll very quickly just jump into line select, and you're going on the San Carlos Dolores. So off you two go, good luck. You'll hopefully go ahead and relieve some of the issues on this line, and then along with that we need to go ahead and assign more buses, I think, onto the Milton Caves Arvada line, so that'll be very easy. And I believe it's a purple bus, which is possibly one of our only purple buses on the map. Or is it like, it's more of a dark blue purple. Can't really decide. What is it? Let's have a look here. It's more of a dark blue, to be honest, actually, like a very, very dark blue. So we'll go ahead and buy that. So we'll buy 1, 2, 3, 4 of you guys, and then we'll set yous on to the Arvada Milton Caves, and that again should hopefully go ahead and just relieve some of the issues going forwards. Anyway, with all that said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this episode up here because I feel we have done a lot this episode. I feel we've jumped from left to right and right to left, but at this stage, it's going to be like that, unfortunately. If you don't really enjoy this format, then go ahead and please say down below, but because we've got so many different cities which have got so many different problems and so many problems needing constant attention, like in the next episode I'll be back in Boulder for at least a minute if not longer, so it's something which I need to just continuously just attend to, because I can't go ahead and leave a place like Boulder for 20 episodes because the whole map and game will just fail. That's the bottom line, so please understand where I'm coming from, because it's not as simple as just going ahead and creating new lines and everything is handy dandy. This game just really doesn't work like that. Anyway, with all that said, I'm wrapping this episode up here, so hope you have enjoyed it. Please leave a like, rating, subscribe if you are new around here. If you've not already seen my brand new City Skyline series, then please go ahead and click the link on screen right now. You'll get a link to a video there. Again, check out the playlist if you miss an episode of Transport Fever connecting up the Grand Canyon. And that's all for this video, so thank you very much for watching. My name is ConflctNerd Callum, and I'm out.